This is not a prison camp. These people are not technically prisoners. They're Palestinians. But every morning that they come to work in this Jewish settlement in the Gaza Strip, they're searched for weapons, for bombs, knives or guns. The settlers' chief of security collects their ID cards at the gate, while Israeli soldiers do the body searches. It's just after 6 o'clock in the morning. Gaza is a crowded, violent place where 1 million Palestinians are hemmed in with a few thousand Jewish settlers. Gaza is not part of Israel, but since the Israeli army occupied it in 1967, it's been in charge and it still rules. Most of the Gaza Strip is officially under the control of the Palestinian Authority. In practice, Israel controls Gaza because it controls every border. No one and nothing comes in and out of the Gaza Strip without Israel's say-so. Not even the fish. The sardine catch is down today. The fishermen say they need to go further offshore at this time of the year, but the Israelis won't let them. A couple of nights ago, Mazen Abduriala was arrested and fined when he went outside the limit. And he says the Israelis don't hesitate to use force.
They shoot near us almost every night. The only thing we haven't had yet is a sniper's bullet into the head.
Every evening as the fishing fleet heads out, they're shadowed by an Israeli patrol boat. Israel is rightly concerned that weapons could be smuggled in, but its strategy punishes the innocent along with the guilty. But securing the borders around Gaza is only one way in which Israel controls what happens here. Inside this tiny strip of land are 7,000 Jewish settlers living in often heavily fortified enclaves. Much of the Israeli army's security effort inside the Gaza Strip is all about keeping Palestinians and Jewish settlers apart. Jewish settlements sit side by side Palestinian areas. To try to guarantee safe access to and from the settlements, the Israeli army establishes security corridors which crisscross the Gaza Strip. And to make them secure, the army frequently occupies land on either side of the road, land that Palestinians have been living on. Which is exactly what happened to Omar Daher on October the 27th last year, when the Israelis decided they needed a new road to this settlement. Omar and his family had been staying with relatives. They returned to find their house in ruins, bulldozed to the ground.
I used to have 12 greenhouses, 10 for tomatoes, another for peppers, and 7 rooms in a house. I had 2 chicken farms. I had more than $88,000 in the house. It took them just 3 hours to destroy something which took me 30 years to build.
You can see where bulldozers have made sandbanks out of what was part of Omar's market garden. The army doesn't offer evidence that Omar Daher's house was used by Palestinian gunmen. The army simply wanted the land, so it took it. Months later, his wife and 11 children are still living in 2 tents pitched on a relative's property.
I'm nearly 50 years old. I'm finished. Look at my son. He's 6 years old. When he's 20, what's going to happen to him? I'll be dead.
These arbitrary injustices are not rare. Dozens of houses, orchards and olive groves have been razed in recent months. One of the most extraordinary cases is that of Hussein Al-Aidi. I'd like to show you his house. He'd like to show you his house, but that's difficult because he has the Israeli army living on the roof. You can see the camouflage netting around the top of it. Every now and then a few army jeeps escort buses and cars along the road in front, which leads to a Jewish settlement further inside Gaza. Hussein says he was told by Israeli security chiefs that they were occupying his house to protect Jewish settlers.
At first, they said it would be temporary, but now they say it depends on the settlement. The commanders come here, they tell me they won't be able to leave my house whilst the settlement remains.
The family's every action is controlled by the soldiers.
I can't leave the house without permission. My children can't go to school without permission. I can't visit my brothers nearby without permission. A soldier has to open and close the door for me.
We'd asked for permission to visit the house. The army had refused. So we tried the direct approach, straight up to an army checkpoint which guards the road leading to his house. Don't try this if you're Palestinian. But we scarcely got within 50 metres before being given our marching orders.
We need to go to Hussein Al-Aidi's house. We want to go to the house.
And since they have guns, common sense says this is as far as we go. Through the heat haze, you can see the extent of army operations. They're not just using the house for observation, they're firing from here.
The first 3 months, there was firing almost 24 hours a day from the roof. It was sending us mad. At one point, I pushed the children outside and said to the soldiers, "Here are my children. If you can make them sleep, go ahead. If you can keep them quiet, do it. If you want to kill them, kill them."
But perhaps most worrying of all, the army insists that there always be members of the family in the house. So I asked the Israeli army spokesman why they insisted on members of the house being there at all times.
This house has been now used for 4 months by the Israeli army. The Palestinian side is looking at this house now as a target. So for security reasons, for our own security and for their own security, even if it seems a little bit illogical, irrational, we have asked them not to get out from the house altogether.
But you are using them as human shields for the soldiers who are on the roof now.
No, I categorically deny this statement, not at all.
Well, how would you describe their role if it's not to prevent Palestinians firing upon Israeli troops?
I will tell you something. It is their house. It is their house. They are living there. If they leave the house totally, for example, maybe they will say that we are going to occupy the house or to take the house, to steal the house from them. We don't want to steal the house.
But why, I asked, didn't the army simply build its own tower or bunker somewhere nearby?
To build a tower or to build a new military facility could be, of course, against the agreement and could be seen and could be actually used by the Palestinian side as a new military facility built by the Israeli against the Palestinians.
So what do the Jewish settlers inside Gaza know about these house occupations?
The only thing I know is that the only time they've occupied homes here has been when those direct people have been very aggressive and attacked us for no good reason or attacked into Israel for no good reasons.
But that's not why the army's occupied Hussein al-Aidi's house.
It's not a problem with Mr. al-Aidi. We have no problem with his family. Again, I want to say clearly and formally, we can regret, and I regret very deeply, that innocent people are involved in this situation.
Israel's invasion of the Gaza Strip in 1967 is not recognised internationally. Palestinians claim that building settlements on occupied land contravenes the Geneva Convention. Netzer Hazani was the first permanent Jewish settlement in the Gaza Strip, and Anita Tucker is one of the original settlers.
Arab culture is based on strength. There's tremendous respect for strength. Whoever's the stronger party, the Arab culture respects them. If they're weak, they'll step all over them.
Respect seems a moot point when you're searched every morning before you go to work. Having been frisked by soldiers, these Palestinians then head up to the settlers' greenhouses to help Anita Tucker grow the celery and lettuces that are her livelihood. It must be odd to work with people all day and wonder if they're firing mortars at you at night.
All right, now I'm showing you the exact location where the mortar fell and exploded, and between the 40 children that were playing around over here, 5 of them were injured and taken to the hospital. What happened was quite amazing. The other children in the area who had taken first aid courses treated their friends, held the artery right over here. The place was covered with blood yesterday.
הפלסטינים לא מקבלים את ההכחשות הישראליות על מעורבות כביכול בפיצוץ הבניין אמש ברמאללה. ראש המודיעין הכללי ברשות הפלסטינית.
Since the violence began 7 months ago, the army has moved in between the settlers' houses and the Palestinian area. Shots are exchanged pretty much on a nightly basis. And out on the roads, there's a big army presence. Palestinians drive on one side, settlers on the other. The settlers are targets for Palestinian gunmen.
Must have been a sniper because he knew it was quite exact. Anyway, he missed the back, it went through my husband's back window about 10 millimeters from his back of his head and out the other window. We heard the shot clearly.
The people who live in these settlements are always on guard. They routinely carry weapons. There are soldiers on the gates. The settlers see themselves as the frontline troops in Israel's struggle for survival. They have political clout way beyond their number.
I'm very happy to live peacefully with my Arab neighbors, and I think Israel security is not doing what they're doing to protect me. They're doing what they're doing to protect the country of Israel, the entire state of Israel, which is a very tiny country in this area.
A million Palestinians, many living in the most squalid conditions, see 7,000 settlers occupying 20% of Gaza as the very core of their struggle. Hussein al-Aidi's family moved here as refugees when the State of Israel was founded more than 50 years ago. Now he's a prisoner in his own home, while Israeli tanks cruise up and down outside.
We will never have a solution as long as the settlers stay in this area. You can see that from what the Israelis are doing. Every day they are destroying trees and everything else because of the settlers. We will never have any solution as long as they are here.
In a separate incident, Palestinian officials say Israeli soldiers have shot and killed a Palestinian teenager and wounded 14 others in the Gaza Strip.
The whole settlement issue has moved centre stage again in this conflict. Palestinians say an end to settlement expansion is a condition of a ceasefire.
Killing 1 Israeli and wounding more than 40.
The new Israeli government is giving the settlements more money to help them grow. Less than a year ago, a different Israeli administration was prepared to abandon them as part of a final peace agreement. Anita Tucker's heard it all before.
I've been asked this question for 25 years since I came here, and the only ones who talk to me about it are the reporters, and they come back every year and ask the same question, and I'm still here. So I hope that next year you're welcome to come back again and ask me the same question.
So that's how it's to be for now. The settlers with their armed escorts behind a ring of steel. On the other side, an occupation that with each day guarantees new enemies for Israel.
They're destroying any chance of peace in the future. What can you expect from children who have to live with this daily suffering?
For Palestinians, Gaza feels like one big open-air prison. In truth, everyone who lives here is a captive of this conflict.